Okay, we have Igudesman Joo with us here in New York, and they're in Vienna. Hello, how are you? So how's the
Hi.
tour going so far?
Well, everything
Good.
is.
Is this live? Are
Yes,
we
it's live.
live?
We're
Or
live now.
Oh my
what?
God!
Is there
Yeah.
an audience?
Oh
Is
yeah.
there an actual audience
Yep.
besides yourself? I mean,
You guys going to be broadcast. This is going to be broadcast on YouTube. So I'm writing an
Oh my
article for
oh
you
God!
guys.
my
So be on
God!
be on
So
your
I,
best
I,
slash worst behavior. I don't know how you want it.
shall I take this off now or?
Hey, be my
No, no, no,
guest.
no.
You're
Oh,
in your
just
own
She said
domain.
YouTube. She
okay.
said YouTube.
You like my T-shirt?
Just didn't.
I
Oh, let
also
me
have
guess. You guys. Oh, I guess you're celebrating spring break, aren't you? Oh, that's a cool shirt. Where'd you get that?
Spring break!
Spring
Yay!
break.
Hey,
Spring
musicians
break.
gone wild. Get the DVD.
Yeah, it's called whatever his name is. You can bail him out. He's in the big tax trouble right now. You can bail him out.
I
Exactly.
have no idea who you're talking
Well,
about.
well, our spring break really is focused. It's a little late. Our spring break is on the 17th of April. When,
Just around Easter. It's
yeah,
an Easter break.
It's an Easter break. Just
Okay.
We like to have eggs in Carnegie Hall.
Exactly. So basically, as Igudesman Joo with our show A Little Nightmare Music, we are coming to the Carnegie Hall. Finally.
Yay!
Well, first we'll have breakfast at Tiffany's,
Yes.
and then we'll just
But we'll do that in the evening. We like to have breakfast in the evening.
and then we'll just trundle over to Carnegie Hall on 57th Street. So it's
Right.
like 1 block away from Tiffany's,
Right.
Yes, on the 17th of April.
and continue and have more eggs.
And more eggs. Cool. Or eggs omelet. You have
Eggs
omelet?
Benedict.
Hey,
Benedict.
hey.
All right. Florentine. I like Florentine.
Don't exaggerate.
So you guys met at the Yehudi Menuhin School of Music, if I'm correct. And
Yes, we-
what was your first impression of each other?
Should we act it out for you?
Sure, go right ahead. Be my guest.
Mommy! That's kind of
Basically.
That's basically more or less. I don't know if I shouted "mummy," but
It was basically it was hate at first sight. I mean,
Hate at first sight. Why?
really, and this is not a joke. We really did not get on at the very beginning, but after a while, he came into my practice room with fish and chips. That's a local delicacy in England.
Uh-huh.
And basically at the time at boarding school in England, the food was so bad that was the equivalent worth in gold.
Yeah,
Even
that's
though
what
I
I was told,
hated
yeah.
this guy so much, I saw the fish and chips and I realized, oh my God, I need the food, but it's him, but the food, but it's him. And my brain nearly exploded. And I opted for the food. I decided for the food and we ate the fish and chips together. And since then, we've been pretty much inseparable.
So, reunited and it feels so good. So basically, you entered the school at what age? The music school at what age?
I was 10 when I went.
And
Yes,
you-
I was 12.
okay.
Yes,
So-
and mentally, basically, nothing's changed.
I could see that.
Hey.
But keep it. Be what you are. Stay where you are. But that's why we love you. So what were your first experiences like at the school? Were your lessons like uber serious, very musically focused by your teachers?
yeah.
They said you gotta learn this. You have to learn the scales. You have to play it this way.
Yeah, there was a bit of military training and
Yeah.
sort of kind of dictatorship,
Which was
some-
important. I mean,
we woke up sometimes at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and we were forced to like run around the school and then start having dictation classes.
but that's why we are highly trained musicians, because we used to train up in the mountains, 2,000 meters, so that we could become highly trained musicians.
Well, we found that the sort of thinking behind Menuhin was that at high altitudes, because the oxygen level is so much thinner, it kind of makes the brain go to higher levels.
yeah,
Okay.
expand.
So it's like almost like a
No, seriously, of course, we did have great teachers and great tutors at the Menuhin School, but from a very early age, what we realized, even though we loved the classical music, we just thought the whole business around it and the whole festivity, or
no festivity, lack of festivity.
of the usual classical music concert, it really didn't make sense to us. When we went to a concert, it felt more like a funeral rather than an celebration of life, which we believe it should be. So already when we were very, very young, we started to experiment, and we started to evolve the classical music concert, and we came up with different ways to open it up, involving theater and involving comedy into the classical music concert hall, which is, of course, not the usual thing.
What was the one instance when you were at school that made you finally snap and said, you know what, I've had it. I've really had it with all the stuffiness. I mean, one particular instance, you say, I've really had it. You just start banging your fist on the wall.
I don't think you can name it as one instance. It's really going into classical music concerts, which we did many, many times, and loving the music, but then not understanding why performers would walk in dressed very kind of conservatively, bow, nobody
this
talks.
whole ceremony just it's almost like, I don't know, might as well like a Japanese tea ceremony or something.
Which is beautiful, but it doesn't have anything to do with the exciting music that classical music really is. So we decided to turn it on its head. I wouldn't pinpoint it to one particular experience. It's just a combination.
Combination? Oh boy, it's like building up all these years, and you say, okay, I've had enough bottling it up. I gotta let it.
Yeah, but at the same time, we weren't trying to, even though it feels like we were never trying to rebel as in such. We wanted to create actually a new form of art, which isn't new at all, and that is to bring fun back into the classical concert hall. Why do I say back? Because back at the time, the 19th century, many people don't know, but back at the time of Liszt, for example, who was an incredibly famous, wonderful pianist, he used to. And he used to, go into the public, speak to the public, sometimes have a glass of wine with a member of the public. During the first performance of Beethoven's Violin Concerto, in between the movements, the violinist turned his violin upside down and did tricks playing it upside down in this ultra-serious piece. So this was actually a given back then. And I don't know what happened in the 20th century, but suddenly everybody took themselves so seriously, and a lost art of true high-class entertainment got lost, and we're just trying to revive that.
Yeah, and Mozart was pretty hilarious, too, in his time, as I understand.
Mozart was also, supposed to be considered a real hoot!
Yep. And his music and the mini operettas were also a hoot. And also, what I wanted to notice, I mean, looking at some of the stuff that you have done, making Rachmaninoff kind of merge into that song, the 1970 soft rock hit known as All By Myself, you're definitely not only accomplished composers, but also musicologist. You've studied the pop culture as well as the classical through the musical structures. Kind of like, some people say, oh, these guys are just like Peter Schickli, PDQ Bach, and all that stuff. But do you also study, like, comedians? Like, not just, classical musical comedians, but what other comedic acts did you also, took into heart?
Well, it's very well observed. It's very well observed from your sides that we are musicologists, as in such. But we are real... very passionate about all types of music, like you've rightly mentioned, and we love to draw parallels. For example, on YouTube, you can see our version of "I Will Survive," which we will do in the Carnegie Hall as well, of course. Oh. And basically, there we've noticed that there are so many harmonic parallels. That means it's the same harmonies that are in I Will Survive as there are in Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony, at Pig Panther Part 2 soundtrack, Bach,
Killing Me Softly, Final Countdown.
And they all come from the same source. We're trying to actually show that off. Of course, it's funny, but we always work on several levels, so that you compared us to PDQ Bach, of course, a big inspiration without a doubt for us, but we're also always trying to write on several levels. So that PDQ Bach, of course, maybe if all of the connoisseurs understand what he's doing, we're trying to not just do that, but also create a show that's just really for everyone.
Is everyone
Yes,
gonna
and
connect?
we've managed to achieve that because now our demographic is really everybody from kids to their grandparents.
Yep.
And also, we have people from all walks of life coming into a concert hall, including people that have never even walked in the concert hall before. And we get a lot of messages on our social media, our websites, and Facebook, which we're very active on. We respond to messages ourselves on Facebook, and we Ustream. We're having our first Ustream event tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Daily Time.
It's Friday. Well, I don't know when this
Friday.
is. It's Friday.
Friday 23rd. Friday the 23rd.
Oh.
Friday the 13th.
No. Anyway, so but what was I trying to say?
I don't know. It's not so important.
It's not so important. Anyway, tomorrow night, Friday at midnight, we have our first Ustream, and we have a lot of messages. People writing to us saying, "Oh, we went to your show, and since then we've tickets to the opera, or we bought that CD of Brahms, or my kid has started learning the clarinet, or I've taken up piano lessons again." And that's really very reassuring for us that we're managing to inspire people about classical music.
Okay, that's great. That's because that's a lot of young people, especially in America. I mean, I'm sure in Europe and other parts of the country, the kids have much more of an appreciation of classical music, but unfortunately, not so much in the lower 48. So I understand.
Well, while that might be true, we can say about American audiences is that they get humor perhaps more than anywhere else in the world. Our show does have some language in it, but it's very little language, and the language is almost inconsequential. I mean, you can still enjoy the show even if you don't understand a word of English. But the point I'm trying to say is that our show basically is so international, and it has a language that basically, I forgot what I was going to say. This is my amnesia.
Yeah.
Coming
It happens.
Again. Who is this again?
So yeah,
I knew this would happen.
But brain small. Huh?
I have just such bad.
Basically, what my colleague here is trying to say is that
the potatoes. Yes, the potatoes.
Yeah, the potatoes.
So I would say this is why American kids would be turned on to classical music because of the two of you, because
and because of the potatoes,
and because they like
French
potatoes.
fries.
That's
French
right.
fries.
I mean, don't you? I mean, everybody likes potatoes.
I had some really good
I was just
French
being
fries
stupid. What I wanted to say, I was just being stupid with the whole amnesia thing. But I forgot again. No, we feel that American audiences get us more than everybody else because
there is a lot of there's a lot of humor, a lot more humor than people realize in America. In America, we feel like everybody's a comedian in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, you go into a shop somewhere and somebody, has a little punchline or
well, actually, even sometimes when you arrive at the airport, at customs and immigration, even the immigration officers love to crack little jokes.
I mean, it's way less serious than when it's scared, like, oh my God, you're getting into America.
Oh my God, get in, please let me in.
And Americans are way more charming than many people even realize, I think.
Yes, humor seems to be a part of just the daily life, the daily vernacular. There's always, you go into a restaurant and there's always a waiter that's, quipping this, and there's always some repartee you overhear between the customer. And so we feel that it's such a part of American culture, which is why our show maybe is more appreciated by American audiences.
Okay, and I also understood you did a series of, I believe, master classes in California. Tell us what it was like.
Yes, we
keep it legal.
We love to work when we hope to do that around our Carnegie Hall date on the 17th of April. A workshop called 8 to 88. Which is basically musical education for children of all ages. I mean, or musicians of all ages, really, between the ages of 8 and 88.
If you're 89, no chance.
You can't get in unless bribes.
Yeah, money talks. Money talks.
Yeah. Anyway, no, but seriously, we do love to work with people to broaden their musical minds as well, involve physicality into playing as well, which is a subject very little talked about, and actually being on stage, the way it feels to be on stage. How do you deal with nerves? How do you deal with the whole surroundings of the whole business side of music, which is essential actually, and nobody really talks about that, and we do. So
often, well, more than often, what happens in conservatory training of musicians is that you much encouraged to just practice your instrument as many hours in the day as possible, and you're in a room which sometimes just has four walls, not even any windows, and you don't realize that at the same time there's something happening outside which is called life, and that there's society and there's interaction. And we found that a lot of musicians just don't have any social skills and have no concept of how to interact in daily life, which is, and you could be the most talented pianist in Horowitz, but if you can't, say, put two words together and make a nice impression with someone, you're not going to get hired.
By the way, Horowitz was a very talented pianist.
But I would also say that it's rarely, like you said, most of the musicians, they have to overcome stage fright. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What was your worst stage experience when you began as a dual act?
Oh, worst stage. Well, of course, for us, the added factor, of course, is when one does something in the form of comedy, is that we are relying to a certain extent on laughter. So, of course, sometimes if you come to the wrong type of audience, you know, and it's a very conservative audience who just doesn't get what one is doing, then the reaction from the audience is this.
Yeah. Or
well, no, that would be fine. Shock would be okay, but complete and utter, you know, when they just. But actually, in actual fact, even the few times that has happened, we've enjoyed that in an own perverse way, because it's you get something from every experience, and that's, I think, one of the main facts for us. Also, in 8 to 88 workshops, that it's something we talk about, is what to do in those moments when you feel you don't have how to get an audience. How do you turn an audience that's not with you around? What are the different tools of doing that? And how do you turn an experience like that, instead of something damaging, actually to something valuable? And there are many, many ways.
Okay, one last question. Is there anything that you haven't done that you want to do? Personally,
yes, playing in the Carnegie Hall. We haven't done that, but we will on the 17th of April.
Anything else after
no,
that?
actually. That, of course, but we do have other things that are dreams.
We have a TV series here in our heads.
Talk to Comedy Central, please, talk to Comedy Central.
I can almost see. Oh, that's funny. I can see a bit of it. There's a bit of it there.
It needs a bit of cleaning, though.
There we go. It's a bit of the TV series.
Oh, that's nice.
Anyway,
get
then
a Q-tip.
of course,
Get a Q-tip.
Yeah.
Another big dream was for us to play at the Hollywood Bowl, and we're doing that on the 6th of September.
Yes.
Being backed by the Los Angeles Philharmonic. I mean, that's a pretty big dream. So
and potatoes.
But of course, we dream of doing that's a show called Big Nightmare Music with orchestras, and we dream of doing that much more, and we dream of doing it one day in New York as well. So that's another dream to fulfill. And otherwise, just humble things like world domination.
Oh yeah. Just the small things, not too much.
Yeah.
Not too much to ask for. No, I don't think that's a very humble and a very very lucrative goal. Yes. Lots of money. Lots of money.
No, we wouldn't do it for the money.
We wouldn't do it for the money. We would just do it for possession of stuff. You know, it would be really just
material. It's just material.
Yeah, purely material. Because if we would own the world, we wouldn't need any money, right? Who cares about money? That's small thinking. Think big.
Think bigger. Outside the box.
Own the world. Then you don't need to pay for anything.
You know what? We should even think outside of the world.
Yes. Own the universe.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Let's go for the big one.
No, but no. Seriously, I mean, there's there's so many things we wish for. Actually, we wish for that many people get turned on to music. Many more people, and we're working towards that. And so and if, by the way, if anyone has ideas towards that, join us on we have an official Facebook page where we interact with everyone and anyone. And please talk to us if you have any other ideas of how to bring people towards classical music or bring them away from classical music.
If you have any crazy ideas, do them. One of the, what we did on New Year's Eve,
Yes.
we kicked off New Year by setting a world record for the most dancing violinists on stage at the same time. We had 100 violinists from all over the world who just paid their own airfare. Some people came from Australia, from Qatar. How do you pronounce that? Qatar? Qatar. Anyway, came from places which are very far away and unpronounceable. And they joined us to help set this world record in aid of UNICEF. And
You had
the
Roger
reason why
Moore
we did it,
emceeing
actually,
you. You had Sir Roger Moore emceeing you.
Yes, James Bond himself. Yes,
absolutely.
But what was great, the real reason why we did that was not to set the world record. What we wanted to set was to say, hey guys, go out and set your own world records. Let's take music, let's take your instruments and ways of playing outside of the box. This is what we do in our workshop with 8-88. Besides all the things we mentioned about, stage presentation and stage fright, we also try to inspire and encourage musicians to be more inventive with theatricality or improvisation or include comedy or sing or whatever. I mean, the sky's the limit. The universe is the limit.
Be creative in all sorts of ways. That's our message.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Hello.
Thank you very much.
I'll see you in April.
When will this be posted so we could see ourselves?
Oh, believe me, I'm gonna post this by the end of this week. You will be notified. Trust me.
Yeah!
Woo!
Great.
Let me just.
Great. Thank you, May.